Now that you have distributed the tasks to your team, it's essential to set expectations on how you want those tasks to be performed. The results your team will produce will be only as good as the directions you give them. This is something that new managers often miss and then are confounded when the team does not perform as expected. It is not sufficient to tell your team member, "I need you to prepare this file for me." You have to be much more specific than that. Start by describing the expected result. What will the completed task look like? What is the expected quality, format, and content of the expected output? Make sure you provide a clear deadline. For more junior employees, it helps if you introduce milestones for activities that may take extended periods of time. This way, you will have the opportunity to monitor the task at each milestone and help adjust the performance if needed. Next, you need to focus on the how of the task. Go through the steps that need to be taken to perform the task and make sure the employee knows what tools they can use to complete it. Let them know who are the stakeholders and partners they can involve in the task and where they can find the help that they need. It is also helpful to provide the context of the task. Why is the completion of this activity necessary, and what would be the downstream impacts if the task is not completed or quality is low? People always find it motivating to know the why of what they're doing. Make sure you use multiple channels to communicate your expectations. If you have discussed the task in a meeting, follow up with an email. Ask questions to ensure that the employee has understood your directions. And don't be discouraged if they have not grasped your instructions fully the first time around. Setting expectations is a repetitive process and continues throughout the whole execution of the activity. You should proactively check task progress, and if the progress is slower than expected, check for constraints. Has the employee understood the expectations? Does the employee have the necessary tools? Is the employee prioritizing properly? You should provide feedback on the completed steps and advice on the following steps. If you find mistakes in the completed steps, explain them and try to understand why they occurred. Don't forget to explain how the mistake may affect downstream processes, as this will help avoid such mistakes in the future. Next, work together with the employee to establish a process to avoid future mistakes. Try not to give in to the temptation of correcting the mistake or completing the work yourself. Let the employee do the rework and correction. This will help them with future tasks and instructions. Once you have gone through this process a few times and you and your employees have gotten to know each other better, you may find that you may be able to skip some of the steps. But at least in the beginning, try to be very thorough when you set expectations with your team and go through all 7 steps.